Hi, my name is Jeff Snell and welcome to my studio. So today we're going to be talking about and demonstrating some basic spray paint techniques. And these were developed primarily by graffiti artists. What I do is paint on canvas typically, usually like 40 by 30, 60 by 48, so smaller sizes than large walls. So I'm taking those techniques and I'm kind of compressing them down into a smaller space. So we'll play around with that and I'll show you a few of the things that I've learned by painting with spray paint. So we just have a few materials we're going to be using today. Spray can, brush, caps, and bucket of, wait, don't throw it, water. So there are several different types of spray paint. The type that you get at a hardware store is typically enamel paint. And it's pretty toxic stuff. It will stick well to a wall, it'll last outside, but I'm always using acrylic spray paint. And there's some nice acrylic graffiti paint out there, all different brands and types. You can experiment with those. But what I typically use is Liquitex spray. It's professional spray paint. But it's the only thing that I found that really actually mixes with water, and you can take a brush after you spray it and move it around without it getting gooey and sticky. When you're using any kind of spray paint, think about your lungs, because that stuff is just a really fine particulate. It'll get in there and stick to your lungs. It's really bad. So outdoors, even if it's blowing around, you'll still be breathing it. So use a respirator or at least a dust mask. Indoors, I would never use enamel paint indoors. It's just not a smart thing to do. Your head will start to spin, and you definitely know that you're using enamel paint. It's bad news. So use the acrylic spray paint, and always use a dust mask, something like this. Today, I'm not going to be having it on because I'm going to be talking while I'm painting, so it's going to be kind of difficult for you to hear me. But these are generally disposable masks and work very well to keep the particulate out of your lungs, so definitely use them. So just like the variety of spray paints out there, there's a variety of spray caps. There are skinny caps and fat caps and fans and all kinds of everything in between. So if you're using a can, this is an enamel type of spray. This is an acrylic spray, but you can see that they're going to use the same type of cap, and that cap is going to have a little tube on the inside, and that little tube goes down in here and depresses the nozzle in the can, and then spray comes out this little jet here. If you're going to use that enamel spray that you find at Home Depot, it already has that little tube here, and it comes with this cap, which usually clogs up pretty fast. You can get an adapter that looks like this that will go on this can and then allow you to use your standard cap with that little tube on it that goes down in there like so. So a little thing about the longevity of caps. If you're using a skinny cap, it's a tiny orifice and it's going to clog pretty fast. The fat caps are bigger and they don't clog as often. The way I paint, I'm just using a little bit of blast of color, and it might sit for an hour and I might pick it up again, in which case they're getting clogged pretty fast. So what I do is I've got a compressor in my shop, so I might as well use it. I have this rubber tip on the gun, and it happens to fit right on this little tube. I put it in there. Actually, I dip it in the water, swish it around, and just blow it out. And sometimes I go backwards too. And that just clears it out, and that allows me to use one cap for a week instead of using like 10 in a day. So I want to show you the difference between a fat line, a fat cap, and a skinny line, skinny cap. So typically you're looking at a gray dot. That's the dot in the middle of the nozzle here, or the middle of the cap, or a pink dot. It's typically a fat line. So what I want to do is show you just what you get from a fat cap and what you get from a skinny cap. So this is, if you press on this very lightly, you can get just a little bit of paint coming out. The harder you press, the more of a full stream you're going to get. So it takes a little practice kind of getting that modulation between full and not very much. So this is the fat cap. You can just press it very lightly. And get a variety of dots. I'll show you a skinny. So either cap, you're going to get a huge variety, just depending on how you depress it, how you use it. So this is the skinny. So not too pretty, but you get the idea. As far as lines go, this is a skinny, and if you go pretty close and fast, you're going to get a thin line, and the further away you pull back, the more the spray disperses and the fatter your line is. This is skinny tip. So check this out. This is I came down here and came away, so I'm getting this fan. If you want a continuous line weight, then you're going to just stay close to your surface. Something like that, okay? The fat, and then let's say like if you hold it back a little bit, that's your pretty heavy line with the skinny cap. Fat cap, just to kind of give you a wider line. So just, variety of lines depending on how far you are away, how close you are, how fast you're going, how much you're depressing. As you can see from the dots, you depress just a little bit, you get a little bit of paint. You press all the way down, you get a lot of paint. Okay, so we're going to start by just putting a little paint down on the surface just to get rid of some white. So I'm going to throw down some water so that you can see the spray, how it reacts on a dry surface, and then how it bleeds into the wet surface. Okay, so we got some wet, got some dry, and I'm just going to do a little mist and maybe fade from one color to the next, gently from left to right. So shoot a little. So I'm working pretty far away here because I'm not putting down lines. I'm just kind of putting down a little bit of color. So you can see the water is really picking up the paint. If I go closer, I'm getting more densely coated paint. Pick up another color. If I start on the other side, then I can get like a fade over towards the middle. Okay, so you get the idea. This is sort of blended the two colors here. You got the straight color left and right. And then let's take some water while this is wet and see what happens when we just start adding more water. So you can see that because this is truly an acrylic paint in a can, you can actually take a brush and water and move it around. And that's why I use this Liquitex variety opposed to the other acrylic paints on the market, because it's liquid acrylic in a can. So if you have something that you don't like, you can actually get in there and scrub it out. So up top we have a wet surface, and down below it's pretty dry. A couple little drips here. But I wanted to show you that you can mask off an area or some lines or whatever to allow what's beneath to reveal itself later on. So I'm just going to throw down a couple little lines here, and then we'll peel them off later. And you can, do any shapes you like. So we'll just start with that, and that's something you can play with throughout the painting, and just keep layering that idea. Put down some tape, spray, put down some more, peel it off, and so on. But it's just fun to play with. So we have a couple of little lines here we've masked, and we're going to shoot on top of it. But a couple of things to remember is that the distance away from the surface means a lot. Small, more condensed spray, and then just a larger, spread out, less condensed spray the further you get away. And then also how fast you travel, and the angle that you approach the wall, the canvas, whatever it is. So if you come straight on, you're going to get a round dot. If you come at, let's say that the cap is kind of, and the can's face at an angle, you're going to get a sharper line and then a fade. That's just like a little blast that goes down. It's kind of like in a fan shape. Same thing with the line. So let's come over here. If I wanted a crisp line that fades out, I'm going to get close to the canvas here and tilt it. So it's sharper and it's faded down here. So just a couple of things to be aware of when you're using the can. So I'm just playing around here, just laying some color down. I kind of like drips, so let it drip. Getting really close, let it go down. Play around with it. Wet on wet's kind of cool. One color can bleed into another and just do some neat things. And the kind of painting I do is pretty non-objective. It's fairly abstract painting, so I like the materials to sort of show me things and let things happen. Like this was just a brush stroke with the water, but the bristles of the brush kind of just laid down the water in a certain pattern. And then I did the spray here, and it's sort of dripping in these little lines going right where the brush was. So you just figure out what works for you, but it's just playing around. You can see how the green just sort of bleeds through and takes that blue paint away. So just play with it and just see what happens, and you might find some things that you like, and then you can repeat those things. This will kind of punch out my cardboard. If you want to make little dots, you can hit the can on your surface. get some textures with that. A lot of times, if I don't like something, I'll just wipe it out. Just take the rag that's a little damp and just kind of wipe something out. And actually, it will give you a line as well. Let's see. Let me get a spray bottle. This just kind of blasts away at what was wet and makes it run down. If you like lines, you've got a bunch of lines there now that's randomly placed. So again, if you have like tip at an angle, you get a hard edge fanned up or down or wherever you're going. Or just kind of a mist. I know this looks like a mess, and it is a mess, but if you're working on these things for hours at a time, you can really get in the zone and really concentrate and really watch what's going on and interact really intuitively with what's going on with the paint. So I'm not creating something that's beautiful here, but just kind of giving you an idea that you can just get in there and play with the paint and the surface and just kind of watch it closely and see what's going on. Well, thanks for spending the afternoon in the studio. Thanks for watching. And if you'd like to see more finished artwork, check out my website, jeffsnellart.com. And we'll see you again.